All right, for more on International Women's Day, we are now joined by Philisiwe Gabela Acting CEO for Commission for Gender Equality, and she joins us now via our video link. Philisiwe, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. I mean, as we commemorate or celebrate International Women's Day, talk to us about the progress which has been made when it comes to achieving gender equality, and including the successes and some of the setbacks that we continue to see in society.
Good evening, ma'am, to you and to the listeners. Indeed, I would also want to echo the fact that the issues relating to gender equality and women's empowerment had long been a concern around the world. The recognition of women's rights and the need for gender equality had roots in various movements and initiatives that date back to centuries. And as we can maybe see out of what many speakers have said during the day, I think we may agree that the country has made positive strides as much as it has areas of improvement. My statement is marked by our Beijing Platform of Action Research report that we made recently as the institution, where we are realizing that the country has actually gone forward in terms of putting in place progressive legislation that seeks to protect women's vulnerabilities, such as the Domestic Violence Act, the Sexual Offences Act, the Employment Equity Act with its Code of Good Practice on equal pay for work of equal value, the Protection of Harassment Act, the Preferential Procurement Policy Framework Act, the Domestic Violence Act, and many others. As I said earlier on, that this is not coming without any barriers or without any limitations. We are, as the institution, noting that there is a notable realization of human rights and its realization for people's rights and development. We understand that there are structural barriers that should be recognized and actively addressed as the country through policy mainstreaming. We are discovering that there's insufficient attention to gender analysis, and it has meant that women's contribution and concerns, they remain too often ignored in economic structures such as financial markets and institutions, the labor markets, the academic disciplines, the economic and social structures, taxation and social security systems, as well as in families and in households. We see that patriarchy is still persists, and it is manifesting itself in different ways, such as the violence, such as teenage pregnancy that we are seeing, such as the sexual harassment in the institution of higher learnings, and many other vulnerabilities.
And maybe just take us through some of the biggest problems and challenges that we continue to see when it comes to areas of potential for gender equality. I mean, looking at women participation in issues around decision making, as well as the gender pay gap that we still see.
Indeed, ma'am, we do get complaints, oftentimes systematic complaints as the institution, where you would realize that a certain sector or particular organization, that there are complaints of discriminations pertaining to unequal pay for equal work. And this is where you will realize that we will go and do a systematic investigation so that we can see to it that these policies are mainstreamed. There's many issues that we are seeing, such as sexual harassment in the workplace, and in as much as there are policies that are actually propelled by this good code of employment equity, but we still see these persisting and manifesting themselves in many ways. We see a lack of transformation in many sectors, or rather, let me say, a slow pace of transformation. And this is where we see that there are vulnerabilities, that there is discrimination that is actually coming out in many fronts.
And Philisiwe, when it comes to women leadership, let's talk about women leadership, particularly in tackling some of the biggest challenges we are facing as the global world. That is things like climate change, and also the promoting of sustainable development.
All right, ma'am, as the institution, we believe that women can be powerful agents of change in defining climate justice, recovery, and adaptation programs, as long as they can be recognized properly in the sphere of work. Women are farmers in their own right. I think we can all agree to that, whether through subsistence farming or workers in the value chain of agriculture and food production. Gender-sensitive climate finance policies, as the institution, we believe that they should be mainstreamed, they should be designed to support women's climate resilience and adaptation programs. And we strongly believe that the country, it really needs to relook into, mechanisms that are meant to drive the increased public and private investment so that women can really be self-sustainable, that they can protect themselves under the many vulnerabilities that they find themselves in.
And when it comes to, some of these initiatives that you can take us through that support women empowerment, what progress have we seen in that regard when it comes to initiatives that support women empowerment, particularly when you look at, sectors like the education sector as well as economic opportunities in the country?
All right, ma'am, I think we can all agree that South Africa is, as a member state, is also a member into many treaties, conventions, coalitions, legislation, and policies that are meant to prohibit unfair discrimination. I will actually name policies such as the Sustainable Development Goals, the Beijing Platform of Action, the SEDO policies. All these policies are meant to advance economic empowerment. They are meant to drive diversity. They are meant to actually accelerate women's empowerment. And for as long as the state is not ensuring that these policies are mainstreamed, we are going to continue to see women being vulnerable in so many ways. And as an institution, this is where we always find ourselves having to go and to monitor individually these sectors, these institutions, these companies, but not just companies, also at grassroots levels, to see to it that we are all, we are all pushing the agenda of women empowerment.
And as the Commission for Gender Equality, what is your message to women on International Women's Day?
We really want to say that we should not leave anyone behind, as this year's theme actually encourages us that we must all pull each other's hand and ensure that women are mainstreamed, that the women's rights are protected, that we do not discriminate against each other. And this can be achieved for as long as there's a very good will amongst all sectors in the state and amongst all.
All right, Philisiwe, thank you so much for your time. That is Philisiwe Gabela, Acting CEO there for Commission for Gender Equality, talking to us there about strides which have been made, also some of the hindrances when it comes to gender equality in South Africa.